at this character less from a physical standpoint and more kind of from an emotional, mental standpoint, what would you say is kind of the most challenging thing about playing Captain America at this point?
Trying to find a way to make him complex and interesting, given a guy who, I mean, his MO is to put himself last. He chooses not to bleed on people, so as a result, he doesn't have this brooding nature, and he doesn't complain, and it's hard to make a character like that interesting for an entire film. But in this movie, they did a good job of making his hurdle and his conflict about the company he's working for. It's not necessarily an internal conflict about his own morality. It's about the people that he's serving. And I think it's, you know, given modern technology, it's a lot easier to, in order to provide the safety that we offer, you may have to bend people's civil liberties, and it's a gray area as far as how far you're allowed to go.
And obviously, kind of the Captain America idea is kind of a Boy Scout type of thing. Like, do you still find that you're competing against that? I mean, because the first movie did a great job in kind of giving a different perspective on this character. So is that less of a focus at this point?
I mean, I think they're letting him become a little more settled in. And the first couple movies, it's the first Captain America movie, you have to stay true to the Boy Scout nature. That's who he is. That's what he is. I think now that, you know, his character's been established and he's a little more acclimated to the modern day, I think they're actually beginning to let him have more human conflict.
Absolutely. And what would you say was kind of the big difference between the Russo's approach to the character versus Joe Johnston's?
Well, Joe had a big burden. Joe had to not only deal with a period film, but it's the establishment of the character. Every single scene matters because it's the first taste. Joe had a tough task, and he did a phenomenal job. The Russos got to kind of play a little bit and advance not just his character arc, but his physicality. I mean, even his ability. We got to step everything up and just make him. Aren't they great? Like, they finally have Cap doing things, you know, the way he fights, the way he moves and runs, and his reflexes, everything is just really sharp and dangerous, and you see why he has a place on the Avengers squad.
And this is a character with so much history, so many great arcs and stories kind of that have come out over the years. What are you kind of looking forward to working with in the future? Like, what are you looking for in the future of Captain America?
It's a good question. I mean, I'd love to see more flaw. You know, he's such a good guy, and especially in the Avengers, you know, someone has to kind of take the role of
the moral high ground guy.
The moral high ground and like this stable, you know, he's not going to have the emotional breakdowns. So it'd be nice to see maybe in future films Cap struggle a bit more and have some failures.